My daughter-in-law's parents tried to pay me to disappear. Then they lost everything. They looked at my 12-year-old shoes and offered me $20,000 a year to vanish from my own daughter's wedding. They looked at my 12-year-old shoes and offered me $20,000 a year to vanish from my own daughter's wedding. I smiled, said thank you, and dressed even poorer than they imagined. 6 hours later, their 25-year marriage was over, their cards were declined in front of everyone, and the daughter they raised cut them out for good. This is the night I stopped pretending. My daughter Emily is 32, and for her entire life, she only knew the version of me I wanted her to see. The single mom in Renton who drove a dented 2012 Honda Civic, clipped coupons, and still lived in the same 2-bedroom condo I bought when she was 3. She never questioned how her private college got paid or why the mortgage disappeared overnight when she was in high school. To her, I was just a project manager who worked long hours and somehow made ends meet. Then one Tuesday evening she called, voice trembling with that mix of joy and panic only a bride-to-be knows. Mom, Ryan's parents are flying in from Scottsdale this weekend for the wedding planning. They booked the whole day Saturday, bridal boutique in Bellevue in the morning, then a private dinner after. They really want to meet you. Please come. I heard the unspoken part loud and clear. Please don't wear the old blazer. Please don't talk about money. Please don't let them think we're charity cases. I asked what she told them about me. Silence. Then, that you raised me alone, that things were tight, that you keep to yourself. Tight? The word landed like a slap. I told her I'd be there, hung up, opened my closet, and pulled out the plain black dress I hadn't touched in 15 years. If Ryan's parents wanted the struggling single mom, I'd give them exactly what they expected, right down to the scuffed flats. Saturday morning, I parked between a Porsche and a Range Rover, grabbed my faded tote, and walked into that boutique ready to play the role one last time. If you've ever wondered what happens when people mistake quiet for poor and kindness for weakness, stay with me. This one still shocks people. Hit subscribe and the bell so you don't miss a single part. 2 days later, I stood in front of my bedroom mirror in Renton and barely recognized the woman staring back. I dug out a plain navy dress I bought off the rack at Macy's 12 years ago, the hem slightly frayed, sleeves a little too short now. I paired it with low black flats that had cracks showed when I walked. No jewelry except a thin silver chain Emily gave me for Mother's Day when she was 10. Hair in a low ponytail, no makeup except drugstore mascara. I looked tired, harmless, forgettable. Perfect. I grabbed the canvas tote I used for grocery runs, threw in an old leather wallet with exactly $47 cash, and left my Rolex, my Hermes scarf, and every trace of Lauren Harper, Regional Vice President of Operations for a Seattle-based tech giant, locked in the safe. The drive to Bellevue took 35 minutes. Rain streaked the windshield while I listened to the same public radio station on purpose. No Spotify Premium, no heated seats turned on, even though November air bit through the thin dress. I parked the Honda 3 blocks away so no one would see the faculty parking sticker from the university where I sometimes guest lectured. When I pushed open the glass door of the bridal boutique, the scent of lilies and champagne hit me first. Then the silence. Emily spotted me and rushed over, eyes wide. "Mom!" She hugged me quick, then pulled back, cheeks pink. "You look nice." Ryan stood behind her in a tailored navy suit, smiling the polite smile of someone who'd been coached. Beside him were his parents, Diane and Gregory Caldwell, fresh off a first-class flight from Arizona. Diane wore a cream silk blouse and pearls that probably cost more than my car. Her blonde bob didn't move when she turned. Gregory had the deep tan of a man who golfed year-round and a watch that flashed every time he lifted his coffee. Diane extended a manicured hand, grip light, like she was afraid I carried something contagious. Lauren, wonderful to finally meet Emily's mother. Her eyes flicked down to my shoes and back up, smile fixed. Gregory shook my hand next, firm but quick. Heard a lot about you. All lies. Emily had clearly told them almost nothing, and what little she had shared had painted me as the struggling parent they needed to manage. The consultant led us to a private fitting area with velvet chairs and a raised platform. Emily disappeared behind a curtain to try on the first dress. Diane wasted no time. She sat beside me, crossed her legs, and started. We're so thrilled about the wedding. Ryan and Emily make a beautiful couple. Of course, these things cost money. She laughed lightly. We've already reserved the country club in Scottsdale for the reception, put deposits on the florist, photographer, string quartet. We're happy to cover everything, naturally. Gregory nodded. We just want the day perfect for the kids. I murmured something about how generous that was. Diane leaned closer, voice lowered like we were sharing secrets. Emily mentioned money was tight growing up. We completely understand. Single mom, corporate job, Seattle prices these days. She patted my knee. We don't want you to feel any pressure to contribute. Really, let us handle it. The words were soft, but the message was razor sharp. Stay in your lane. Don't embarrass us with a cheap gift or, God forbid, expect to help pay. Emily stepped out in the first gown, simple satin, elegant, and the room exploded in praise. I watched Diane's face light up for her future daughter-in-law and felt the first cold coil of anger in my stomach. This was only the beginning. The consultant brought out champagne for everyone except me. Diane waved the server away with a little laugh. Lauren doesn't drink at noon, do you? I just smiled and asked for water, no lemon. Dress after dress, Diane found something to criticize when Emily wasn't looking. Too plain, too much lace, neckline too low for the country club crowd. Each time she said it loud enough for me to hear, soft enough for Emily to miss. Between gowns 3 and 4, Gregory pulled out his phone and showed Ryan photos of the Scottsdale venue. Rolling green fairways, a fountain that changed colors, a bridal suite bigger than my entire condo. Deposits already down, he said proudly. $120,000 non-refundable. We're all in. Emily's eyes went wide. Ryan squeezed her hand. I nodded like I was impressed, not calculating how many years I'd cleared that in a single quarter. When Emily disappeared again to try the final gown, Diane turned to me, voice syrupy. Lauren, we've been thinking. Weddings are stressful enough without money worries. We're covering the whole event. No need for you to chip in at all. We know things are modest for you. Gregory jumped in. And listen, we'd like to help you out personally, too. A little monthly allowance, maybe $20,000 a year wired directly to you. In exchange, you let us handle everything wedding-related. No need for you to fly down early or stay at the whole week. We'll send photos. $20,000 a year. Less than I spend on property taxes for the lake house Emily still doesn't know exists. Diane reached across and patted my hand, rings cold against my skin. It would take so much pressure off Emily if she knew her mom was taken care of and not stretched thin trying to keep up. The curtain swished open. Emily stepped out in the gown she would eventually choose. Off the shoulder, soft ivory, simple and breathtaking. The room went quiet for half a second. Even Diane's mouth softened. Emily looked straight at me, eyes shining. Mom, waiting. I stood up slowly, walked over, and adjusted the strap that had slipped. You look like the most beautiful woman in the world, I told her, voice thick. Diane cleared her throat. We should celebrate. Gregory made reservations at El Gocho, private room, just the 5 of us. We have a few more wedding details to iron out. Emily glanced at me, hopeful and nervous. I smiled. I wouldn't miss it. El Gocho's private room smelled like aged steak and old money. The hostess led us past the main dining room, down a hallway lined with black and white photos of 1920 Seattle, and into a corner space with one long table, heavy red curtains, and a chandelier turned low. A waiter in a crisp white shirt pulled out Diane's chair first, then Gregory's, then Ryan's. Nobody moved for mine. I took the seat at the very end, farthest from the power couple, and folded my hands on the white tablecloth like a little too tightly. Menus arrived. Thick leather. No prices on mine, of course, just like the men's. Diane opened hers and didn't bother lowering her voice. Gregory, the Wagyu tomahawk for 2 is $290 now. Remember when it was $180? Gregory chuckled. Everything's gone up except good manners. Ryan laughed politely. Emily shot me a nervous glance. I just smiled and studied the wine list like I'd never seen a $500 bottle before. Diane leaned toward me, pearls catching the light. Order anything you like, Lauren. Our treat. I asked for the house salad and the grilled salmon, the 2 cheapest things I could find. Diane's eyebrows rose a fraction. Then she ordered the tomahawk, lobster bisque, and a bottle of 2016 Camus Cabernet that cost more than most people's car payment. While we waited, the conversation stayed light. Flight delays out of Phoenix, how Scottsdale winters beat Seattle rain, the new rooftop pool they'd installed last summer. Every sentence carried the same subtext. We have, you don't. Then Diane set her glass down and folded her hands, exactly like I had. Lauren, we need to speak plainly. We adore Emily. She's smart, beautiful, perfect for Ryan. But weddings this size, 250 guests, live band, destination events, it adds up fast. We're looking at $400,000 easy. Gregory nodded. And we're covering it. No loans, no stress for the kids. Diane's smile tightened. We know you want to contribute something. As the mother of the bride, we appreciate the gesture. But honestly, it would mean more to everyone if you didn't stretch yourself. We can't have you going into debt over centerpieces. Emily's fork froze halfway to her mouth. I took a slow sip of water. I wouldn't dream of going into debt. Diane exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for months. That's such a relief to hear. And there's one more thing while we're all together. Gregory cleared his throat, suddenly fascinated by his phone. Diane kept going. After the wedding, Emily and Ryan will be starting their life. New house, maybe children soon. They'll need space, focus. We'd like to help you live more comfortably so Emily never has to worry about you. $20,000 a year, direct deposit, no strings, except... She paused, letting the silence do the ugly work. Except you keep a respectful distance. No surprise visits, no last-minute trips down. Let the kids build their family without complications. The salmon arrived. Steam rose between us like a wall. Emily whispered, "Mom, please don't." Diane cut her off with a gentle hand on her arm. "Sweetheart, this is grown-up talk. Your mother understands." I set my fork down. The metal clinked louder than I meant. $20,000 a year, I repeated quietly, to disappear. Diane's smile didn't waver. To live without worry. Yes. Gregory finally looked up. It's a generous offer, Lauren. More than fair. Ryan stared at his plate. Emily's eyes filled. I picked up my napkin, dabbed my lips, and looked Diane straight in the face for the first time all day. Generous. I said, tasting the word. Let me make sure I understand. You're offering me less than I spent on coffee in a year to vanish from my only child's life. Diane blinked. That's not. Because if that's the price, I continued, voice calm, steady, then you clearly have no idea who you're sitting across from. The waiter appeared with the check presenter, unaware he'd just walked into a war zone. Gregory reached for it automatically. Diane kept her eyes on me, confusion starting to creep in. I reached into my faded tote, pulled out a matte black card, and laid it on the leather folder before Gregory could open his wallet. Use this, I said. Dinner's on me. Gregory chuckled nervously. Come on, Lauren, we invited you. I didn't smile back. The waiter took the black card, disappeared. Diane's face shifted, something between amusement and annoyance. Really? That's sweet, but... The waiter returned faster than expected, looking uncomfortable. I'm sorry, ma'am, but the card was declined. Gregory frowned, pulled out his own black Amex. Here, use mine. 30 seconds later, the waiter was back, same face. Declined as well, sir. Diane's turn. Platinum card. Declined. A second platinum. Declined. The manager appeared, apologetic, discreet. Ryan's ears turned red. Emily looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her. I took the black card back from the waiter, turned it over so the name faced up, and slid it across the table to Diane. Lauren Harper, Regional Vice President, Operations, Pacific Northwest Division. Diane stared at the card, then at me. The manager cleared his throat. Ma'am, your card cleared instantly, $12,482, including gratuity. Thank you. Diane's mouth opened. Nothing came out. The manager left. The door clicked shut behind him like a judge's gavel. Diane still held my black card between two fingers, as if it might burn her. Gregory's face had gone the color of the rare steak cooling on his plate. Ryan looked at his parents like he'd never seen them before. Emily's hand found mine under the table and squeezed hard. I leaned back in my chair, the timid single mom gone. Let me tell you what $20,000 a year buys in my world, Diane. It buys one weekend at the house I own on Lake Washington. It buys the property taxes on the condo I paid off when Emily was 12. It buys less than 1 month of the salary I've earned for the last 18 years, $38,000 a month before bonuses and stock. Gregory made a choking sound. $38,000 a month? I ignored him and kept my eyes on Diane. I oversee operations for every office from Seattle to Singapore. I sign contracts bigger than your entire real estate portfolio. I have sat across from billionaires who asked me for favors. And today I sat here in a 15-year-old dress while you offered me pocket change to abandon my daughter. Diane tried to laugh it off. There's obviously been a misunderstanding. No, I said, voice flat. The misunderstanding was yours. You saw worn shoes and assumed empty accounts. You saw quiet and assumed weak. You offered money to make me disappear because you thought I was the weak link in your perfect little family photo. Emily's voice cracked. How could you say those things to my mom? Diane turned to her, desperate now. Sweetheart, we were protecting you. From what? Emily shot back. From being proud of where I came from? Ryan finally spoke, low and hard. Dad, you told me her mom was struggling. You made it sound like we'd be supporting her forever. Gregory opened his mouth, closed it, reached for his water, and missed the glass. I wasn't finished. I came today dressed like this on purpose. I wanted to see exactly how you'd treat someone you thought had nothing. And you showed me every minute, every word, every pitying look. You didn't just insult me. You insulted the woman who worked 60-hour weeks so her daughter could go to college without loans. You insulted every single mother who ever chose dignity over diamonds. Diane's eyes filled. Lauren, please, this is getting out of hand. I slid the black card back across the table and stood. No, Diane. It got out of hand the moment you decided my worth could be bought for less than you spent on handbags. My phone buzzed in my tote. I glanced at the screen. Chloe. I put it on speaker and set it in the center of the cable. Lauren Harper's office. My sister's calm voice filled the room. Chloe Harper speaking. I just got off the phone with the restaurant manager. Everything's settled, including the security footage request. Anything else you need tonight? Diane went white. Gregory stared at the phone like it was a loaded gun. Chloe continued, cool as November rain. Also, the preliminary cease and desist for defamation is ready. Shall I file first thing Monday? I didn't answer her yet. I looked at Diane, then Gregory, then Ryan. Thank you, Chloe. I'll call you back. I ended the call. The private room had never felt smaller. The door to the private room opened again. This time it wasn't the waiter. Chloe walked in wearing a charcoal suit and the same calm expression she uses in court when she's about to destroy someone. My younger sister by 3 years, partner at one of Seattle's top litigation firms, and the only person I'd texted the address to an hour earlier. She didn't look at Diane or Gregory first. She looked at me. You okay? She asked. I nodded once. Chloe turned to the table. Good, because the manager just emailed me the full security footage, audio included. Washington is a 2-party consent state, but since this is a public restaurant and no one objected to being recorded, we're in the clear. Diane stood so fast her chair scraped backward. Who the hell are you? Chloe Harper, Lauren's sister. Also, the attorney who's going to make the next few years of your life extremely expensive if you ever speak about my niece or my sister like that again. Gregory tried for authority. This is a private family matter. No, Chloe cut in. The moment you tried to bribe a woman to abandon her own daughter, it stopped being private. Ryan finally found his voice. Dad, is this true? You recorded it? Gregory's mouth opened and closed. Diane's eyes darted to the door like she was calculating escape routes. I stood slowly. Everyone watched me now. I didn't come here to humiliate you, I said. I came to see if you were the kind of people my daughter should tie her life to. You answered that question before the entrees arrived. Emily's voice shook. Ryan, I can't do this. I can't marry into a family that treats my mom like trash. Ryan looked at his parents, then at Emily, then at me. Something shifted behind his eyes. Em, wait. No, she said, tears spilling. I'm done waiting for them to be decent. Diane reached for her. Sweetheart, you're upset. Emily stepped back. I'm clear-headed for the first time in years. Gregory pulled out his phone again, fingers shaking, probably calling the bank for the 10th time. Whatever he heard made him go pale. Chloe spoke again, softer now. The cards were declined because I put a courtesy hold on your accounts 30 minutes ago. Fraud alert. Happens sometimes when large unauthorized attempts go through. It'll clear, eventually. Diane spun toward her. You can't do that. I just did, Chloe replied. Consider it a preview. I picked up my tote. We're leaving. Ryan, you can come with Emily or stay with them. Your choice. Ryan stood without hesitation and took Emily's hand. Diane's voice cracked. Ryan, think about this. He looked at her for a long second. I just did. The 5 of us walked out. Me, Chloe, Emily, Ryan, and the weight of 25 years of Caldwell pride crumbling behind us. Outside, the November rain had stopped. The valet brought my Honda around first. Diane watched it pull up like it was confirmation of everything she'd believed. I handed the keys to Chloe. "You drive. I need to hold my daughter." We got in, doors shut, engine started. As we pulled away, I saw Diane and Gregory still standing under the awning, alone, the restaurant lights behind them making them look smaller than they'd ever appeared. Emily cried quietly in the back seat. Ryan held her and didn't say a word. I looked out the window at the wet streets of Bellevue sliding past and felt something settle in my chest, something that had been coiled tight for 32 years. Freedom. The next 48 hours moved like a wildfire nobody saw coming. Sunday morning, my phone started blowing up before I'd even poured coffee. First, it was the country club manager in Scottsdale, voice tight. Diane had tried to move the reception deposit to a different card. It bounced. He needed payment by Monday or the date was gone. Then the florist, the photographer, the string quartet, every vendor Diane had bragged about booking suddenly had payment issues. Chloe's fraud alert holds had rippled outward. Banks freeze connected accounts when one flags. By noon, Ryan's phone was dead from the calls. He sat at my kitchen table in Renton, head in his hands, reading texts from his dad that went from furious to pleading in 6 messages. Emily hadn't slept. She kept refreshing her email, waiting for the inevitable apology that never came. Instead, at 2:30, Diane showed up at my condo unannounced. She stood in the hallway in sunglasses and yesterday's clothes, looking 10 years older. No pearls today. "Lauren, we need to talk," she said when I opened the door. Chloe appeared behind me before I could answer. "You're not welcome here. Leave." Diane ignored her and looked straight at Emily, who had come to the door. "Baby, your father and I are at the hotel. We can fix this. Come with me." Emily's voice didn't shake anymore. "You tried to pay my mother to disappear. There's no fixing that." Diane's lip trembled. "You're throwing away your entire future over one misunderstanding?" Ryan stepped forward. "I'm throwing away the version of my future that includes you two treating people like problems to solve with money." Diane turned to him, stunned. "Ryan?" He cut her off. "I'm done. I already called the club and moved the reception to Seattle on my own card. Emily and I will pay for what we can afford. You're not invited." Diane took a step back like he'd slapped her. For the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes, not the polished kind she wore like jewelry, but raw, animal fear of losing control. Gregory's text came through Ryan's phone a minute later, screenshot shared to the family group. Bank statements, red numbers, investment accounts locked pending review. Years of flashing wealth, and one weekend had cracked the foundation. That night, the story hit the Scottsdale gossip chain. Someone at El Gacho had talked. By Monday morning, it was on a private Facebook group for Arizona country club wives. "You won't believe what happened to Diane Caldwell up in Seattle." The comments were brutal, even by rich people standards. Diane stopped answering calls. Gregory's golf buddies started canceling tea times. And Emily? She deleted her parents' numbers, changed her last name back to Harper on the wedding website, and slept 12 hours straight for the first time in months. 3 months later, the papers arrived by certified mail. Chloe brought them over herself, dropped the thick envelope on my kitchen island, and poured us both coffee without asking. Inside were 2 lawsuits filed in King County Superior Court. The first, Harper v. Caldwell, defamation per se, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. We asked for $2 million in damages, plus punitive. The complaint quoted Diane verbatim from the restaurant audio. $20,000 a year to keep a respectful distance. No need for you to fly down. We can't have you going into debt over centerpieces. Every word time-stamped. The second suit, tortious interference with parental relationship, Chloe's favorite. Precedent is thin, but the facts were ugly enough to scare any judge. Gregory's attorney called the same afternoon, voice shaking with forced calm, offered to settle for $250,000 and a written apology. Chloe counteroffered $1.5 million and public retraction in the Scottsdale Progress. They hung up on her. Discovery started in April. Bank records showed the Caldwells weren't as liquid as they pretended. The country club membership was financed. The 7-figure portfolio was mostly home equity and a single strip mall that had 3 vacant units. When the fraud holds finally lifted, the late fees and vendor cancellation penalties ate another $180,000. The club expelled them in May for non-payment of the bar tab they'd run up, bragging about the wedding that never happened. Diane filed for divorce in June. Irreconcilable differences. She kept the house, Gregory kept the debt. Their friends picked sides like it was high school cafeteria seating. Ryan changed his last name legally to Harper Caldwell the day the judge signed the order, then quietly dropped the Caldwell part 6 months later. The Caldwells tried once to reach Emily, a 3-page handwritten letter from Diane delivered through Ryan's old fraternity brother. Emily read the first paragraph, folded it, and mailed it back unopened with a post-it that said, "Boundaries mean no contact." The wedding happened on a rainy Saturday in October at a small vineyard outside Woodinville. 60 guests, string trio, food trucks, and a dress Emily paid for with her own signing bonus. Ryan's best man was his college roommate. Diane and Gregory were not on the guest list, not even as a courtesy. I walked my daughter down the aisle in a simple navy gown I bought off the rack. No one checked the label. When the officiant asked who gives this woman, I said her mother does and always will. Emily cried, Ryan cried, Chloe ugly cried in the front row. Diane watched the live stream someone accidentally posted to the country club Facebook group, then closed her laptop and didn't open it again for weeks. Some prices can't be paid with money. October rain tapped against the vineyard windows the afternoon Emily got married. 60 people under one roof, string lights, mismatched wooden chairs, and the smell of wet cedar and pizza from the wood-fired truck outside. No fountain that changed colors, no 7-tier cake, no ice sculpture. Just people who showed up because they loved the bride and groom, not because they wanted to be seen. I stood at the back door and watched Emily laugh while her best friend fixed the hem of her dress with safety pins. Ryan adjusted his tie in a mirror made from an old window frame. Chloe chased a toddler cousin around with a phone camera. Everything felt small, real, unbreakable. The officiant signaled. Music started, something acoustic and slow. I took Emily's arm. "You ready?" I asked. She squeezed my hand. Never been more ready for anything. We walked the short aisle together. Ryan's eyes locked on her the whole way, like the rest of the world had gone quiet. When I placed her hand in his, he mouthed "thank you" to me. I nodded once. Vows were short, rings were simple. The kiss was long enough that Chloe whooped and everyone laughed. Later, under the tent, Emily found me by the dessert table. "Mom," she said, voice low so only I could hear. "Diane sent flowers to the hotel this morning. White roses, no card." I looked at the bouquet someone had quietly placed near the guest book, already wilting. Emily waited. I picked it up, walked to the parking lot, and dropped it in the muddy puddle beside the dumpster. When I came back inside, Emily hugged me so hard my ribs creaked. "She's never going to understand," Emily whispered. "No," I said, "and that's okay. We do." Ryan joined us, slipped an arm around his wife. We changed the honeymoon tickets, just us, no +1s, no family drama. 10 days in Maui, paid with my bonus and M's raise. I smiled. "Good, you earned it." Chloe raised her glass from across the room, caught my eye, and mouthed, "Case settled." 3 weeks earlier, the Caldwells had signed. $850,000 wired, full release, no admission of liability. Their lawyer called it nuisance value. Chloe called it Tuesday. Diane moved into a 2-bedroom condo near Phoenix. Gregory took a studio apartment and a job selling luxury cars on commission. Their Christmas card list shrank to 12 names. Emily never added their numbers back. Ryan never asked her to. Some nights I still drive the old Honda, windows down, radio low. I pass $1 million houses with perfect lawns and wonder how many of them are one bad decision away from losing everything that actually matters. Money never bought the Caldwell's class. It never bought them love. And in the end, it couldn't even buy them a seat at their only son's wedding. I kept the black card. I kept my daughter. I kept my peace. And that's the only currency no one can ever take away.